welcome to Utah. Basically have this whole park to ourselves.
Well, why don't you explore Dixie National Forest?
We just got our first glimpse of the waterfall. But now we're going to leave you here because we're going to pick you up in the morning when we head to Zion.
So the next morning we got up early at 4 a.m. and drove an hour and a half over from Bryce to Zion.
It was pitch black when we entered the park. We came in from the east entrance. When you are coming in from different entrances, especially the east entrance, there are tunnels. So if you have a larger trailer, you just want to check the size of those.
Which we didn't have to worry about because we left Carmen back at Bryce and just drove Diego over to Zion.
And so there were absolutely no lights, and all we could see was what the headlights were putting their light on. And it was you could tell just the very base of the mountains. And when you looked up, it was just pure black, and then you could start to see some stars. So you knew that there were really large things that were going to be revealed when the sun came out.
And that's definitely a difference between Bryce Canyon and Zion Canyon. They're both canyons?
No, it's just Zion. It's
just
not
Zion. So that's definitely a difference between Bryce Canyon and Zion, is that at Bryce, you're at the top of the canyon looking down into things, and at Zion, you're usually in the base looking up, unless you do some of the hikes.
By the time we got to the parking lot at 6:15, it was getting pretty full, but we knew that the start of the day, getting there early, was key to not feeling overwhelmed by the crowds.
So when you park at the visitor center or the overflow, you're going to take a shuttle up through to the different trailheads. There's no parking at the trailheads and is only accessible through the shuttle.
Our main choice when we got there, the two most popular places are the Narrows and Angel's Landing, and so we knew pick one because the one we went to would have less people in the morning, and then the second one we knew was going to have the crowds. So we chose to do the Grotto Trail up to Scouts Lookout at the base of Angel's Landing. It's the parking lot at 6:15, got on a shuttle, and now we're on El Grotto, which ends at Angel's Landing. We'll see if we make it that far. Quick, Aaron. We're alone in Zion for a quick second. Not for long, I'm sure the people are coming.
And the grotto wasn't too intense. While on the way up, it is pretty steep. There is some elevation gain.
How you doing?
Elevation, not my thing. I'm good.
You're good.
It is very paved, it's very comfortable. You're not worried about falling off the side like you do when you get up to Angel's Landing.
Well, if you've been following the news, per the national parks, they are going to be instituting permits for Angel's Landing. And I personally think that that is a great safety choice because the path is so narrow that you can't even pass people up and down. And so that when you go around people, you are letting go of the chains. There's chains literally to the mountain to secure you. And there have been deaths. And it's really not even just you, like, oh, I have trust in myself to be able to do this. If somebody around you were to fall and knock you over, that's it. It's just sheer cliffs on either side of you.
So we just finished Scouts Landing. We got to the base of Angel's Landing and decided that was not for us. Amanda tried a little bit.
So I grossly underestimated the length of it. I thought this little tree was the top, and I said, oh, I could do that. It's like 5 minutes. And I went up it, and even that kind of just gave me anxiety because there were just so many people, even though we went there so early. So I chose to turn back, and I'm fine. That doesn't bother me. Good for the people who do it, but I'm kind of a klutz, so I wasn't gonna roll the dice.
So we made our way back down, and one thing that's really cool along the Grotto Trail is that there's a moment where there's some really rare owls. We didn't necessarily get to see the owls, but there is a quiet zone where just really peaceful and you're kind of between the canyon walls. It's a really nice moment along the trail.
One of the paths near El Grotto is Emerald Pools, and there's a lower, middle, and upper. And those are pretty cool. They have a little trickle of water. I think it would depend probably on the rainfall, obviously. And we really enjoyed, I think, the lower and middle. I recorded a bunch of stuff before on our walk. I got you. I mean, apparently I didn't do any of it.
It's gonna be a highlight of me.
Yeah.
Glad you guys like watching me walk around.
We definitely enjoyed lower and middle pools. They were beautiful, had nice overlooks. We did make our way up to the upper pool. I would say, our opinion, you can pass on that one. There wasn't a whole lot more to that than there were the others, and the hike just didn't seem worth it.
No, and it was like a smaller area, so it felt crowded and
I think the only
grand.
benefit is that on the way up there, we did run into a deer on the trail.
So we just had a lunch, PB&J. Now we're gonna head to the Narrows.
So now into the other heavy hitter of Zion, which is the Narrows. Very, very popular trail. It's about 9 miles back and forth, and it's in water.
Gonna get our feet wet.
Here we go.
It's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be wet.
This trail is it can just change based on the rainfall. So, you know, you might have a friend that goes and the water was really low and clear, and their experience could be totally different if you went recently after rainfall. And one thing to note though is that it can close from those rainfalls. It's in these slot canyons from the Virgin River. So on the park's website, there is this constant meter that is measuring the cubic feet per second, and if it's over 150, then the Narrows close. So you really have to keep a close eye. So if you watched our Bryce video, you'll know that there was a huge rainstorm. And we were planning on going to Zion actually a couple days prior than when we actually went. But when we checked it, it was at like 4,000 cubic feet per second.
So obviously hiking this trail, you're going to be in the water.
I'm almost waist deep in water. Go up, yeah, open it.
And while you might think things like sandals or flip-flops or something might be a better option, you really need to have something that's a closed-toed shoe so you don't slam your toes into the rocks underwater. And for us, we just had our hiking shoes and normal hiking socks. Now that meant that we were committing to being soaking, sopping, squishy for the rest of the day and hiking back. So there are other options. There are some rentals and group tours you can go on. So with the rentals and group tours, you can get these big, robust water shoes. They are not like you think of when you go to the beach or in a pool. They are basically hiking shoes that just have straps that go all the way up your ankles and keep things pretty sealed off.
We just finished the Narrows. Now our feet are all wet and we have a mile hike back.
We knew there was going to be more people on the trail because when we first got here to Sam, we chose to do Scouts Lookout instead. And even though there were people, we spread apart and it felt really nice to cool water in the heat of the day. I think we expended all of Aaron's energy, but no place for a nap. Hello? Are you alive?
So Zion National Park obviously has a lot of other trails that you can do. We did not get to everything in one day. There is a whole other section that's called Carmen Canyon that you can get to. And even on the shuttle that we were on, there are some other trails that we didn't do. But then we made our way and drove back through the park, and there's just so much to see. We did a couple of pull-offs to take some photos and made our way back to Bryce Canyon National Park.
The next morning we packed up and we started heading back to Phoenix. When something happened.
As I was driving, I could feel around some of the curves that I didn't have as much of a grip, that the car was just not having as much traction as it normally would. And then all of a sudden the tire pressure monitor of the car, not the trailer, came on, which really made me nervous. I thought that we were having a slow leak. So at the next gas station, we did pull over. Unfortunately, that gas station was not for a while. We probably went another close to 10 miles with just hoping that we were okay and trying to find that safe spot to pull over.
There was a gas station. We got out of the car. It was immediately clear that we had a flat tire.
Diego has a flat tire.
And so we were trying to brainstorm what to do. It was a Sunday. It was 100 degrees in August. I mean, it was not an ideal situation.
Not the scenario we wanted to find ourselves in.
We were kind of in the middle of nowhere when this happened because between Bryce and Phoenix, there's not too much. Luckily, we were a little bit north of Page, so we were able to leave the trailer and had to kind of put some emergency air in the tire and hope that it held for the rest of the way as we drove to a Walmart that luckily had auto service, and we were able to see if they would do the tire there.
They did end up replacing the tire. The gash was just a little too big to plug it, and they were done in about 2 hours.
Well, waiting for the tire to be repaired. Carmen is technically at a gas station 10 miles away, and hopefully we're done here soon.
But that meant driving back another 10 miles, re-hitching up to Carmen, and then driving back through Page. So we did probably an extra 30 miles on that trip, but luckily, pretty much best case scenario in terms of having a flat tire in the middle of the desert. Only took us about less than 3 hours of a delay of really from start to finish.
It made us think about how we really should brush up on some of our other emergency skills because that scenario could have played out much differently.
So maybe a how to change your tire in the middle of the desert video coming your way. So then we were able to make it back to Phoenix safely and get ready for our next adventure.
That will be it for Utah. Took your time? So be sure to hit subscribe to find out where in the world Carmen goes next.